Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Ketan Shah, who is here on behalf of MemoriaCare Saddleback Medical Center. Well, Dr. Shah, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
Now, you're a gastroenterologist over at MemoriaCare Saddleback Medical Center, and a variety of things that are happening right now with colorectal cancer. But before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a native Californian. I was born and raised in Southern California. I did my undergraduate studies at UCLA, then went across town to USC for medical school and business school. I completed a dual residency program in both internal medicine and pediatrics at Duke University in North Carolina. Then I quickly came back to California for a gastroenterology fellowship and was lucky to be trained by some of the world's experts at UC Irvine. Then in 2015, I joined the Saddleback Medical Group, and I've been lucky to have been with them since then.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, to go to the East Coast and have been raised here in Southern California, it's nice to get back, isn't it?
It was a change and very nice to get back.
Oh, I bet. Now, colorectal cancer versus prostate cancer. Can you give me a definition of colorectal cancer and then also tell me the differences between that and prostate cancer?
Yes, great question. Both are very common cancers. The prostate is a gland that's in the urinary system and a very common cancer among men. But the colon is otherwise known as the large intestine, and it makes up the last 5 feet of the 25 feet of intestines that we have. Mm-hmm. The rectum is the lower part of the colon, which stores our stool. Cancer of the colon or rectum, or colorectal cancer, is the 4th most common cause of cancer and the 2nd most common cause of cancer deaths in this country. Over 50,000 people die from colorectal cancer each year.
And most people, I think, not necessarily in the medical terms, but call it colon cancer, correct?
That's right. I think the terms these days can be used interchangeably, and someone who has rectal cancer would potentially be considered to have colon cancer as well. But the more broad term is colorectal cancer.
Okay. Now, is there a particular age where people need to be concerned about this?
Yes. I mean, as for most cancers, the more common age is when we get older. And so that's why screening is recommended to start around 45 or 50. And I think we'll talk more about that in just a bit.
Yes, exactly. Now, what are some of the things that people can do to reduce their risk of colon cancer?
Yeah, there are several so-called modifiable risk factors, which are things we can do to lower our risk of getting colorectal cancer. They mainly consist of diet, weight, and physical activity. Being overweight, obese, and having inadequate physical activity are risk factors for colorectal cancer. So losing excess weight, maintaining a normal weight, and being physically active most days of the week are protective factors. Mm-hmm. Eating excess red meat and processed meat, as well as smoking and alcohol consumption, are also risk factors. So minimizing these, as well as increasing our intake of fiber, dairy, fruits, vegetables, and calcium, as well as eating a vegetarian diet, are proven to reduce the risk of getting colorectal cancer.
A lot of these diets today really are pushing people to eat more red meat and to eat more protein. So I have a feeling, maybe you can help me understand, are you seeing more cases of concern for colon cancer based on people switching to these kinds of diets?
Well, I think in general, some people's poor eating habits, as well as other poor lifestyle decisions, such as being too sedentary or having excess weight, are all risk factors. And yes, eating excess meat, especially red meat and processed meat, are risk factors and can certainly contribute.
Okay. Now, if someone is feeling different kinds of symptoms, what are some of the things they should be aware of?
Yeah, the most common symptoms of colorectal cancer include like rectal bleeding, anemia, change in bowel habits, and unexpected weight loss. But not to say that everyone with these symptoms has colorectal cancer. Mm-hmm. The major problem, however, is that when a person has symptoms from colon cancer, then over 50% of the time it's diagnosed at an advanced stage when it's too late to be cured. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, over 90% of early stage or curable colon cancers are diagnosed during routine screening exams.
Right. And when you say routine screening exams, what are you referring to?
Well, there are several major types of screening. There are several approved methods to screen for colon cancer. In 2017, the three major GI societies recommended these tests in three different tiers. In the first tier, they recommended either getting a FIT or fecal immunohistochemical test every year or a colonoscopy every 10 years. The
Mhm.
FIT test is a stool test that people commonly remember as smearing some stool on a card and sending it in. This test is very effective at detecting and lowering the risk of dying from colon cancer. But what many people don't realize is that it has to be done every year to perform at its rated sensitivity, which is that it detects about 80% of cancers. Remember, that means it misses up to 15 to 20% of cancers.
Right.
Colonoscopy is the gold standard for screening for colorectal cancer, which means that all other tests are compared against colonoscopy to determine their sensitivity. A colonoscopy is a commonly performed procedure where a physician like myself inserts a small flexible tube about the size of my little finger that has a camera and a light at the end of it. And we insert this into the rectum and we examine the entire 5 feet of colon. It takes about half an hour. The main benefit of colonoscopy is that we're not only able to detect colon cancer with great accuracy, we are also able to find and remove precancerous growths called polyps during this exam, which allows us to almost completely prevent colorectal cancer before it even develops. Precancerous polyps are extremely common. Up to 50% of people over the age of 50 have precancerous polyps. So it's very important to find and remove these before they ever turn into cancer.
So a question for you, of course, most of us just really don't want to drink that stuff before the exam. Have they come up with something new yet?
Yes, there are various reasons why people are hesitant to have a colonoscopy. And you're right, the most common reason is the prep. And yes, the colon does need to be cleaned out prior to the exam to allow us to detect any abnormalities like polyps or cancer. And yes, this is everyone's or most people's least favorite part. The prep has gotten better though, and there are several lower volume preps and some newer pill preps available on the market. The lowest volume preparation is only 5 ounces of prep per dose, followed by 32 ounces of water. And the taste has also gotten much better too. Other people are concerned about pain during the procedure, which is why we give most patients some sedation to take the edge off. So most people don't really remember their exam. But on the other hand, some people are concerned about being sedated and the side effects of sedation. So some of us do offer the exam without any sedation, and most patients are pleasantly surprised by the experience of having it this way. And about 90% of patients who choose to have their exam without any sedation say that they would choose to have it again the same way. Some patients worry about the possible risks of a colonoscopy, and though we can never guarantee that nothing serious will happen, the overall rate of serious adverse events from colonoscopy is less than 1 in 1,000, and the rate of something very serious like a perforation occurring is less than 1 in 2,000.
Man, well, that's good news. I mean, I really like the fact that they have come up with some new ways for us to feel more comfortable getting this. Because I tell you, and I'm actually glad that they changed it from 5 years to 10 years, because then I think our anxiety of getting one is lessened because, oh, well, I didn't have one until for 10 years. So, well, good. Well, great information. I appreciate you outlining everything for us. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.